G'day Gary, thanks for this opportunity to make application for the role of Director of Economic Development and Activation at the City of Perth. Thought I'd just send you a quick video blog, really tell you a bit about myself and where I've been and what I've been doing, and see if that might fit with what you need over there in the West. My story is pretty simple really. I started in banking after a small stint in the RAAF, but started in banking, rose up to branch management level in commercial retail banking, and then had a pretty big career change when I went into partnership with three friends, and we started up a marketing communications business here in Adelaide, which became a very successful studio that operated for around 11 years. And after that 11 years we went our separate ways, and I found myself working in the Premier's office here in South Australia, actually working on the South Australian strategic plan, which was quite innovative in its time. My role was principally to conduct all the community consultation programs that were around creating that strategic plan. But that was back in 2007, but it was a bit of a game changer for South Australia, having a strategic plan for the whole state, and it was certainly an interesting exercise conducting the consultation meetings around South Australia and in Adelaide and with all the various government departments. That was a 2-year project, and after I left the state government and certainly with eyes wide open, I went into local government and started with the City of Salisbury, and that's where I did my apprenticeship with the economic manager there at the time, a man named David Penfold, who I still have a close relationship with here in South Australia. Quite a brilliant man who taught me a lot under the leadership of the CEO back then, who is by the name of Stephen Haynes, who is a bit of a legend over here in local government, particularly with planning reform. But Stephen and David certainly taught me a lot, and I was very happy to be part of putting together an economic development strategy for the City of Salisbury that at that time went on to win national awards for its innovation, and it certainly changed the City of Salisbury to become one of the fastest growing cities in South Australia. It's a northern suburbs defence town in many ways, but it has grown extraordinarily well since my time there, and is now one of the leading councils in South Australia, and certainly a sustainable council in the way commercial development was increased during that period that I was there, laying the foundations for what Salisbury is today. But that was a fantastic outcome, great learning curve being involved with the City of Salisbury, and I was offered a job from there where I went on to work at a small inner city council called the City of Prospect, and there I developed both an economic strategy and a digital economy strategy, where we became one of the first suburbs in South Australia to have the rollout of the national broadband network, something that I was heavily involved in the strategy to actually win that rollout, because we could certainly see the advantages of having optical fibre plumbed into all our premises in Prospect. As it's turned out, with the way the rollout of the NBN has happened across Australia, Prospect is now the only city in Adelaide that is actually going to have optical fibre plumbed into every one of its premises. That construction work's only just finished, and they're about to light up the last of the what they call FSAMs, of the regions that have the optical fibre rolled out in them, the suburbs that have the optical fibre rolled out in them. But that fibre is going to be lit up, the last FSAM, in the next month or so, and that means every property, every business premise and every home in Prospect is going to have optical fibre, and that's been a game changer for Prospect, and it certainly has turned around with some pretty innovative planning reforms that we headed up in the time I was there, has transformed this quiet, almost backwater inner city council into one of the leading councils in South Australia, and it has certainly delivered investment to the council that through the rates now they're set for the next 50 years, and for the first time they don't really have to worry that much about rate increases because of the commercial growth and the high density growth of urban development that's occurred in Prospect, which we think the fibre was a key infrastructure enabler that actually has attracted that sort of investment to Prospect. I moved from Prospect onto a northern city council called Playford, and within my 12 months there developed an economic strategy for the city of Playford, which is going through extraordinary change at this time. It's a neighbour to the city of Salisbury. Unfortunately, things didn't work out there for me that well. I became quite frustrated with the lack of vision that I felt was, and lack of support I was getting from senior management at the time, and it was an impasse I just couldn't break through, and unfortunately I decided to move on. I guess I felt a bit that if I can't achieve what I came here to do, then there was no point staying, and I was very fortunate at the time to be offered another position at another council nearby that was called the Town of Gawler, that was looking to bring about significant change to its council and to its region. And 18 months ago I started work there and pulled together their new strategic plan that's for the next 10 years. That plan was adopted by council recently and includes some significant economic initiatives that are really transforming Gawler now from a country town that used to be a gateway to everywhere else in northern South Australia, where we've now turned that on its head and we've made it very clear that Gawler is going to be a destination of its own. It used to be, and well, was South Australia's first country town. It was a major district centre, and we're determined to take this town back to being a major district centre and provide all the services that you would essentially get in the CBD of Adelaide. We want to be able to provide in Gawler, and we're well and truly on our way. We've had some wonderful new investment from private developers into the area, which I think have been attracted by our plan. We're an NBN rollout site, something I worked hard on when I first got there to ensure that Gawler actually received the national broadband network, and was one of the first towns to do so. That infrastructure is being built now. We recently run 5.6 million from the federal government's Stronger Regions program to the adaptive reuse of our historic town hall and institute building to create a digital hub, a new entertainment centre, a new library, new community facilities, and new restaurants and cafes in the central heart of the CBD, which we think is going to be a game changer for Gawler and certainly be a major economic driver, not just for Gawler but for the greater region of Gawler, which is a population of around 130,000 people. So did all that in 18 months and certainly brought about significant change and some exciting change. The elected members and the Mayor are pretty proud to put their weight behind those changes, and the staff are pretty excited about the next 3 years and the change that they're going to be a part of. So that's a bit about me. There's more there in my resume, which I'll certainly welcome you to read, and would love to answer any questions if you've got any about my past and perhaps my skills and knowledge and what I could bring to the city of Perth. But hopefully we may be able to chat via video conference link or perhaps even meet face to face in the not too distant future and discuss the role that you have there in the city of Perth. So thanks for your time, and look forward to catching up soon.